How we doing, everyone? MJS back again with another video here, another installment of the Our First Home series. So today is Sunday, July 3rd. As far as like stuff we've been doing, we had a soiree at my parents' house yesterday for my sister's like some sort of like birthday type celebration thing and everything like that. So we didn't do like a ton of work then, but I can't remember what I honestly filmed last because the night before that was Friday, and I actually filmed a video in this studio that I'm sitting in here that we were going to be heavily talking about here in like 2 minutes. But I filmed a video about our mobile podcast setup, which will be on the channel here. I don't know if it's going to be on before this video, but take a look at it. I'll try to leave a link or a card or something somewhere. But it'll be on the channel, so if you're interested in like our mobile podcast studio setup that we've had for like 2 years now, take a look at it. It's very high quality. I would highly recommend it. We used a lot of the things, like we're going to reuse and repurpose obviously a lot of the stuff that we had there for this new like studio space that we actually have in our house. But, some of the things, we're just making more permanent. So, like I said, if you're interested in mobile podcasting, take a look at that. But what I want to talk about today is all of the things that we purchased, which I might have talked about, but we actually have them now because they came yesterday. And we have another piece of the puzzle coming today as well. So a lot of different work here the next day or two of trying to get this space up and running to just film more content and podcasts and everything like that. So I got a couple things. Studio's a little messy here, but we're coming together, and I'm going to talk to you just about the stuff that we have and the ideas that we're going to implement here. So let's just take a look at what we got, and I'll run you through everything. So I am currently sitting over at like where the table would be positioned. It's kind of hard. I wish I had a wider lens on this camera, but that's not a project for today to deal with. So here's the deal. We have a lot of stuff on the floor here. We got like mic stands and things like that. We have a new mic stand we'll talk about. But this is like totally raw. This is like where we're at currently. The reason I'm sitting over here is because one of the things that we got is obviously the lights the other day. I'm still dealing with the placement and like the diffusing and everything like that. But this is typically what I think is kind of going to happen. There's going to be a light sort of in that area. It's going to shine like sort of across the table and light like whoever is over on this side. There's another light over there. It's going to do the same for the people on this side. And then either a light over there or something like that, or like behind, I'm not exactly sure. But these lights, and I will have everything, links to everything in the description, but these lights are GVM lights, which is like great video maker, some Chinese company, but these are pretty great lights that come from Amazon. I just always heard are like highly recommended. Very affordable, just LED panels, and they come with, like I said, you can get the little diffuser things too, the soft boxes. But they're cool because they have an app, and you can change everything via the app, like different color temperatures, color scenes. You can do all sorts of different stuff. But they don't have like I'd have to go into the app, and the app is a little clunky. So here was my idea. To turn them on and off without using that relatively shitty app, what I would have to do is either one of two things. Either like pull the plug of them, or like actually go on the back of the panel and flip an on and off switch. And I don't really want to do that because they're going to be hanging from the ceiling. I kind of just want to like set them there and forget them ultimately because the stands will be gone. Like I said, we're going to put them up wherever we need to. So what I did was you can kind of see over there. Actually, here's an easier one. There's a little, just a little mini smart plug thing. That's from TP-Link. And it's part of their Casa series, or that's like their smart home stuff or whatever. But again, I'll leave a link in the description for it. A 4-pack of those, I think, was like less than $30. And all I did was plug that into a regular outlet and then plug whatever I want, in this case the light, into that. And all that does is like say, it just controls the power. It doesn't really control the light. It's just, whatever's plugged into that is going to get power or not get power based off of the, whatever signal is kind of sent to that smart plug. So now what I can do is I'll also we'll add more things onto this, but one thing I can do is, on my phone, or there's actually over there right now, there's a little, you can't really see it very well because it's like through that door, but like right here, let me see if I can get it. There's like right over here, there's like a somewhere right on top of this fridge is a Nest Mini. And so let me just kind of show you. So we'll stand over here and we'll look over here, and we got this light, and this light on right now, and this is just like a regular light, so we'll just, for emphasis, we'll just turn that off because that's not part of this. So we'll say, hey Google, studio lights off.
Got it. Turning 3 lights off.
That's pretty sick. Hey Google, studio light on.
Sure. Turning on 3 lights.
So that's awesome. Okay. I'm just super happy with that because that's just going to make my life a touch easier because I can either control it with my voice or just like through the Google Home app because that's what we use and it's integrated through all that. And again, it's just a smart plug. I mean, all this stuff is just trying to like figure out the different pieces and then build whatever you're trying to build because those lights are not smart. They're just Bluetooth compatible with that app. But something like that makes it even better, even easier. I'm very happy with it. The only concern is like, technically it's like kind of like pulling the plug and replugging the lights back in every time. If that's bad, then that's a risk I'm willing to take because I don't see a better or easier solution with these lights specifically, given the price point and everything like that. I'm very happy with it. The one thing that I'm going to comment that I'm going to make, because I'm going to make a smart home video soon too, is we have an obnoxious amount of devices on our network right now. It's like our main network because we have a secondary network, but it's like for guests, it's like the guest network. So I'm concerned that maybe I would like to have another, like an IoT network, which I would, consider all of those things to be. But I don't think Google, the Nest Wi-Fi setup that we have, I don't think it gives you that. It would be nice. But maybe soon, maybe in this setup, if not definitely in like the next setup, next house or something like that. But I would just say if you're doing this and you have the option to make like a third IoT network, you should probably do that because this is probably getting kind of clunky. It's probably not the greatest thing in the world. But all that aside, everything's working now, fingers crossed, and I'm really happy with the way that this is coming together. So that is all the lighting and the smart, stuff regarding that. I want the studio to be, like automated in a sense and as smart as it can be. So that's another thing too, is like there's that light up there. If I'm going to use that as like a fill light or just, whatever, because it's in the ceiling already, then I'll probably throw a Philips Hue bulb in that just so I could say, I can make like a little automation thing where it's like when I say, hey, turn the studio on or something like that, just some sort of set of words, that it'll turn on everything that I want. So it would be like the 3 lights, it would be that light, and then I can't think of anything else really because like the Zoom, like our audio interface would be plugged in, but there's nothing else that's really super powered. Like you wouldn't want the camera to necessarily turn off. I kind of just want to keep it in, keep it charged, I guess. So the lights are really the big thing. But if I think of something else, then we'll definitely figure that out. If we get like a sign or something behind, because we got to deal with this. This is literally, just like a window back here, and it's just covered up with this plastic right now because I want to control the light back there, and we have to insulate it too because there's like birds outside this window, so got to do some sort of little soundproofing just there, and then something to cover it up. Just little things. I mean, like those are. We'll get them done with time, but we need a space, and we're very close because, like I said, the tabletop is coming today for these sick legs over here that we got. So we'll transition over to this. We got a tabletop. It's 30 by 60, so it's like 5 foot, but like 2.5 feet or something. And I think it's gonna be cool. One of those legs will go like sort of out on that side. One of them will go more towards the wall. It'll be a long table out towards this way here. So we'll have a long table right here. We'll have 2 chairs over there. We'll have 2 chairs over there. We'll ultimately have 2 setups too, like 2 microphone setups, or 4, 2 on either side at all times. I want to get different chairs, like some rolly chairs or something like that for either side. There'll be a lot more room, like I said, because those stands won't be there. And yeah, so we got all that. And then I'll tell you when that comes because I got these little machine screws from a buddy of mine they're like wood screws to screw up through those legs into like the MDF tabletop thing. And then these guys are hopefully my pride and joy. This is the Elgato Wave Mic Arm LP. And the way this works is it clamps to the desk, or in this case, the table. So this goes in here, And then these are like, you know, low profile, so they're not like hanging up like the one on my desk setup currently is. Like, it's not like up and over and all that sort of stuff. It's just kind of like parallel with the desk or the table, you know. And hopefully they work. I'm a little concerned because the table only being 30 inches like wide is a little concerning, because this thing is like, each bar is like 11 inches. So I'm hoping it works out nicely and I have no problems, because I think I'm gonna have to clamp them to the outside of the desk. I don't know. I might not have to. I don't know. These things, like, you know, like, there's so many pivot points on this that, like, I think we're gonna be able to figure it out and make it all work. I just don't know exactly, because I don't have the table yet. But when the table comes, we'll figure that out. And then I guess the only other thing is, I don't know. I mean, really, like I said, light placement and trying to figure all that out. There's a bunch of other little things that we kind of want to do, obviously. But we're coming along here. So that's kind of the update. I'm super happy about those lights, because that's honestly a huge thing. These arms are going to be sick. I'd love to have, like I said, 4 things just set up at all times, so when we have, you know, guests, we can bring them in and whatnot. I guess maybe another little thing, more of a finish work item that I just have running around in my head is, like, so when that light's up on the ceiling like that, there's obviously a wire that runs down and runs like all the way over there. I'm gonna make sure that all of that is like attached to the wall, right? And then, you know, just making everything clean. And this is another big thing. This is probably the biggest thing that I haven't talked about and have given basically no thought, because I don't know what to do. This is, you know, roughly the kind of the camera shot, in a sense, you know, where the camera would be, looking down at the table and looking down at the guests, which maybe we get more cameras, probably not right at first. But, you know, if it's looking down at like the guests like this, what do you do as far as the backdrop? Because the backdrop is just like an ugly paneled wall and currently a trash bag. So I don't know exactly what to do there. Like, we should definitely do something. At minimum, clean the wall. And then at maximum, like, paint it and do something, or do like a backdrop or whatever. I actually, off the top of my head, do have an idea. If you're an OG follower of the stuff that we've done, you know that we started this shit out in we started out in my parents' garage, and then we moved into the shed, like my parents' shed, and turned that into like a little makeshift podcast studio. And there are currently, because I was just there yesterday, there are like drapes on either side of that. And you didn't really see that in the shot, because the shot was, you didn't really see that because that was on the side walls. But we could definitely do something like that on the back wall. I don't know if I'd really want it to be black, but there's just like a lot of black going on with probably the chairs, the legs of the table, the actual table itself. But we could probably do something. So I'm thinking about different ideas. So if you have any ideas for us as far as the backdrop of the setup. But here's the problem with the backdrop of the setup. It has to be multifunctional, because it's going to be fueled by progress and it's going to be AM and PM. So that's the only kind of issue there. But something easy to switch out to, I wouldn't be super against that. So I don't know. Just thoughts and ideas, but that's everything I got. Hopefully the table comes very soon. I can deal with that. I'm maybe going to play around with some other things here, but we're excited. We're moving. We're grooving. Once this is all kind of stationary, then obviously we'll move on to another thing, but we got a lot of stuff to do. We got a lot of fun to have here with, we're excited to get back into this, because it's been a minute and we appreciate all the support. So, let's keep going. Okay, funny update here. As I was filming that last clip, like right after, I checked the tracking status of the tabletop, and it was already delivered. It had been outside, I think, for 10 minutes. And so I went out there, I grabbed it. I have some pictures of what the box looked like, so I will put that right here somewhere. Typical shipping damage. Luckily, I did take it out of the box, and it's fine. I don't see any problems or anything like that. But it's just funny that it was already here. So then Amanda and I ate some breakfast, and now I'm back down here, and let's just take a look at what we got here. So, right here on the ground is our table with our legs attached to them. I'm hoping that it's all going to work out nicely. This is the situation. This tabletop is actually a desk. I think it's like It said it was from Fitness, some sort of something, I don't know, Fitness something. I'll put the link in the description, but it's like a fitness, one of them rising, standing up desks and everything like that, something like I have, but just not the same brand. And so you can see there's like pre-drilled holes in there. And those holes are if you like bought legs that company also uses, but I mean, you don't have to use them obviously, because it's just MDF. It's like almost like, just like dense, I think it's dense, like sawdust packed together, but it's basically wood. So those screws over there, plus these legs, plus that tabletop should create a table, hypothetically, right? So I have a couple questions a lot of things running through my head. I'm just going to spit them out here. The first thing is, it's very black. Like the legs are very black, the tabletop is very black. That's fine, doesn't matter. I mean, we like we like black, we like dark gray, we like all that sort of stuff as far as the aesthetic and everything like that. It's weird looking at, we'll deal with the backdrop like we said. But I'm not, that seems fine. That's not a big deal. The first question that I have is, one, how do these legs go on? Because there's like a little bit of a lip on this side that's not on this side. So does the lip go on the inside or the outside? I'm thinking it goes on the inside. I could probably just look at Amazon, like the description and the reviews of those legs, and figure that out. That's not a big deal, but it is something that I need to figure out. That's a simple one. The second one, do I need these on here? Because I screwed these little, adjustment legs on there. Is it better? Is it worse? Because like as of right now, it's gonna be like on just like a carpeted thing. So do I even need those? Should I just try to put this thing directly on the carpet? Don't know the answer to that question. Again, not a huge deal. Could always take them off. Whatever. The bigger thing that I'm staring at, I'm looking at, and I'm thinking about is actually a couple things. One that I just thought of literally as I was saying this. I'll talk about the first one first. This table doesn't actually look that big. I mean, like what I'm gonna do is I might try to actually set it up without putting any nails or any screws in rather, and put it over there, put it in the place that we want it, and just kind of see how it's gonna look. Hopefully it doesn't like fall down or anything like the legs or whatever, but like just kind of see how it's gonna look, because it doesn't really look that big. I mean, it looks big enough to put 2 chairs on and everything like that, but I don't know, because like I'm really concerned with that arm thing, the way that those move and everything like that. And the other thing that I just thought about, which is extremely important, like monumentally important, is if I'm gonna go with those things, if that little swinging wave mic thing is gonna happen, then actually I don't know. Like, this is my issue, and I'll be able to illustrate it when I put this table up. This is my issue, is I want to make sure that this thing is in a good place. So if we're thinking like this is the edge of the table, like we're shooting this way, I got to make sure that this thing has enough clearance. So that's exactly going to tell me how far, at minimum, I need to push this in, when I screw it in and everything like that. Because, ideally, we'd probably want to catch the entire thing if we're building our own damn table. So you can kind of see here what I'm talking about. Imagine this thing is clamped onto this table and it's all the way pushed in as far as it can go. I definitely want to push those legs in more, right? So that's one thing. But then again, I might also do it on this side, depending how I, configure it. So it won't be a big deal necessarily this way, but you kind of get the idea. One other super quick thing that I will mention, because if you're interested in those legs, you like the way those look, you click on any of the links and you check this out. There was a different set of legs like that by a different company that looked very similar. And they allegedly, obviously we didn't buy those, allegedly from here to here, like the width of the part that goes on the table was like 17 inches, and this one's like 24 inches. So if you get a big table like this, you probably don't want really small legs like those, the other ones would have been. So I'm very happy that I noticed that, because I was considering buying those ones. But I'm happy with this purchase because I think this is all going to work out. I just need to kind of configure it myself, because this is what happens when you don't buy something that's like pre-configured, which is not a big deal. But that's kind of where we're at. So I'm excited about this though. What I think I'm going to try to do, like I said, is lift the table up, put the legs kind of in, kind of where they would go, set the table on top very gently, and just kind of get a feel for what it would be like. Because, can you hear those birds? I need to insulate that window. But just kind of get a feel for kind of what it's going to be like, because that is ultimately going to be, kind of the make or, not like the make or break thing, but but if I'm going to keep all this stuff, I want to make sure that we do this relatively right. So let's just play around and see what happens. Okay, so super quick thing, because I kind of moved some things around, and I'm not going to be able to like put that shit on the legs before I actually screw it in. So maybe I'll put like 1 or 2 screws in and then see, double check again. But I'm on the floor, and I'm going to show you sort of one thing that I was concerned about. I want to go through all the progressions here before we finally get to this point of putting this together, and I'll talk you through where I'm at. So here's the first thing. I kind of, looking at this, am a little upset. Like, I think it's a little too narrow. And I'll tell you why. Not because of the microphones, actually. I think I have it's kind of annoying, but I think we could have gone even wider. Like I said, I think the length is pretty good, especially because like the camera angle and stuff like that, it's probably going to be, I think the length is not the issue. It's a little narrow, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure how like tables really go anyway. Like, I did a lot of research on shit, so I think we're probably going to make it work, but just because I don't want to go through the bullshit of dealing with it, but I think it's going to be fine. It's definitely better than it was. But I think I should have gone even a little more wider, because it does look like there's a decent amount of space on the the outside, for like anything else. Even if we did have like 2 people, like 1 person sitting there, like even if somebody needed to get up or whatever, I think we still could have gone wider. I just don't know if we could have necessarily found a table that was 60 inches long, like this length, and also wider. But I think I'm going to roll with it. I think we're going to figure it out. It's going to be fine. I think I'm also kind of, what's the word? Kind of making too big of a deal about that, because regular fucking tables are like this, are pretty standard sizes. Like, I'm sure people have fucking dining tables that are this, this size. So it's like, it's not going to matter if you have 2 people sitting across from one another. I'm sure it's not actually going to be that big of a deal. But, probably could have been wider. Fuck it, though. Doesn't matter. I put that there because that's, like, where it's going to be, just obviously on the legs. And I wanted to talk about this real quick before I start screwing in these legs and we just get this show on the road here. This is confusing and concerning to me because there's going to be, like, so many, like, microphones and shit going on. Now, these are cool because they have, like, all sorts of pivoting points. Like, that long one there can even obviously go up and everything like that. But my thing is, like, obviously we clamp it in. So here's one option, like clamping it on the side. And again, there need to be 2 down here and then 2 on this side, 2 on that side. So that's probably not the best, because I'm pretty sure that, like, depending on where people are sitting and everything like that, and this is obviously fluid, like once the table and everything, you can clamp, unclamp, or whatever. It's not like the end of the world. But if this was clamped over here, I think that those would have a chance to, like, hit each other, and there's just not a lot of room, and that's one of the reasons I thought, like, it wasn't wide enough. But I think I'm going to be able to, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I actually think that there's 2 options that might even be way better, and I think that might be putting the clamp, like, over here, and then having the guest be able to, like, move it, like, freely kind of in that area. Or also, which might end up being the thing, is putting the clamps for, like, these 2 guests over here, putting it towards the middle. So, like, more of like a reverse style of this. I'll use this one as an example here on the left side. Something that would look ultimately more like that, and then, like, just the reverse on that side. So, like, boom, boom. That actually might end up being the way to go. Again, it doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. One quick thing is, you can see it way better on camera, but this thing does, I guess, leave a lot of fingerprints. I don't really give too much of a shit about that, truthfully. I mean, I'm not, we'll figure something out there if we need to. This is not a fucking $1 million production, obviously, but I do like to do things the right way. So, a lot of things that we're learning here. I think this is a huge, huge step in the right direction, better than the little fucking table that we had before. I think it's going to look fantastic. Obviously, I keep echoing that. But I'm just going to do the damn thing. I'm going to figure out how these legs go together, put them in the right spot, and just screw them down. All right, I have been wasting the last 10 minutes because I've been looking at this and I've been thinking, man, I still think this is not ideally wide enough. But I've come to this conclusion that I don't give a shit, because it's only at maximum 6 inches, not like 6 inches too narrow. by standard, because this is technically like a desk rather than like a table. And I think like most dining room tables are 60 by 36, and this is 60 by 30. So I'm going to say fuck it, because this is then just the next iteration, and I just want to get this rolling, and I don't want to have to return this tabletop and fucking go through all the other shit. I think it's going to be fine. So assuming it all like actually works properly and doesn't like suck and wobble and all that sort of stuff, we should be good. So I'm just going to put the fucking legs on. So I'm just going to real quickly talk to you about what I'm looking at here and just the things that I'm kind of looking at in this certain situation. The first big thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to come down here. I wanted to just put this thing on the edge just to see how far the screws are going to go in. Like I said, I got these 3/4 inch wood screws here for my buddy, and if I just like kind of hang these on here how they would be, like, obviously they got to go through the metal and go down here, there is still a good amount of room there, so it's not gonna like pierce through the other side of the table. So that's fantastic to note. And then over here, like I was talking about, this is actually like where the table, like the leg placement is gonna go. I could go in further. I don't really want to. I'm hoping that it's not gonna matter. If they're out here, this is almost like 3 inches from the edge. These legs are 24 inches wide, like I said, across, and then the table is 30. So just 3 inches here, 3 inches on the other side. That's perfect. And then all I need on the outside is, just in case I end up putting these clamps on the outside rather than like on this edge, I just want to make sure that it's gonna clamp properly and not like hit. I want to make sure it catches all of the clamp here. And when I put this on, it literally only came to like, didn't even cover like where this other screw hole thing here, that prefab screw hole goes. So that'll be fine. Yeah, and other than that, really, I'm just gonna make sure it's straight, which I was just using these screws as like the ideal. Hopefully those are straight, and I'll measure a little bit more just to make sure. But yeah, I'm just gonna start screwing these damn things in, and if they go in and don't like get fucked up or anything like that, then we should be good to go. If I do need a pre-drill, that'll kind of suck, but we'll do our thing. So I think I'm gonna get a couple screws in here, maybe a couple screws in over there, flip it over, potentially, or maybe just throw them all in, I don't know. And let's just get this job done. What do you say? All right. So I'm not using the actual microphone, obviously, here to talk here, but we're coming along. I have mixed feelings. Mostly positive, but some just, I don't know, I wish I would have done a little bit better job. But this is an iteration, not a final destination. I just made that up, so great. Anyway, this is what we have. Obviously you can't, this is kind of like the microphone. I will say these, I'm not going to say that these Elgato arms are like the best thing ever, but for the price, compared to what we had, fucking phenomenal. There are some things that like I just don't really extremely like about them. I would assume like the $300, $500, whatever dollar ones that huge podcasts use. I'm sure that those are way better. We're not there yet, though. When we do get there, you'll get another setup video, I'm sure. But for the purposes, everything we're doing, I think that we are definitely we are leveling up the game, and it's going to be even more exciting and more fun to actually do all this now that we've done this. So let me kind of pull back here and show you what we have going on now that we have the whole table assembled and everything like that. I'm going to give you some thoughts because, again, not perfect, but better. So here's what we got. Honestly, it looks fire. So this is like, the sort of the where the camera would effectively be placed. We have the table there. It looks great. Aesthetically, I think it looks fantastic. Those legs are pretty sick. Top of the table, all black, nice. Again, don't know about the backdrop. Chairs, we'd like to get different chairs. We'll talk more about that. Let's talk about everything that I thought of, kind of one thing through at a time. So let's start off with this table, okay? The legs went in pretty easily. They each have like literally 11 screws into them through the legs and through the table. I didn't fuck it up. I didn't go through the table or anything. It looks, pretty good, other than like these kind of like fingerprints and shit like that. It looks great. That's awesome. The legs went in great. The table, I mentioned this a little bit, and now like as I'm sitting at it, seeing it and everything like that, The table is definitely, maybe in my opinion, a little too narrow, but not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So that's fine. It's also, I would say, a little too short, like in length, but that's much less of a big deal. And I think it's definitely doable. It's definitely fine. It's going to work. We'll talk about the mics and everything here in a second because that was another part of my concern. But just so you get the idea, like these chairs are pretty, they're pretty narrow because they're just like folding chairs. And it fits. I mean, the stuff, like they fit underneath there. It's fine. That wasn't an issue. So there's enough space there. There could be more, but again, it's not like a huge space anyway, like the whole room and everything. So that's probably fine. I'm not super concerned about that. The other thing is like obviously the camera angle, like this singular camera angle, which we're definitely going to need to get more cameras at some point because this just isn't necessarily going to fly. But this is pretty good, definitely for now. Camera angle, if we can kind of look down here on this, is decent. I mean, it's not fantastic. Just like as a single camera angle, it's definitely great. And again, our ideal goal would be to have another camera over here, pointed right there somehow, like right at me. If I was sitting on that side, and then another one mounted to the wall over here, facing, that way, in a sense, facing the other person or whatever. That will happen. I guarantee you if we continue, obviously we're continuing with this, I guarantee you that will happen at some point. Just not this second. But anyway, this is great for now, so that's good. And then what else do we have? Okay, so the thing with the table, all right? The table is great. We talked about the dimensions of it. That's all right. Like sturdiness, if I push like this way, like, like from this side to that side, doesn't really move at all. If I push that way, it wobbles. Now, it's not a super significant wobble. I don't think it's going to necessarily break or fall apart or anything like that, but it's definitely noticeable, especially like when we're moving the mics and shit like that. Like if I move it like, significantly, like, which we'll talk more about it, like if I move it a little bit like that, like it moves, okay? I'm not happy with that. Like I'm actually a little pissed off because I don't think there's really any way I could have necessarily avoided that. I did see like maybe one or two comments that said that, but again, you got to be careful with who you listen to on reviews and everything like that on Amazon. So I'm a little pissed off about that, but I think that's rectifiable. I just don't know exactly how, so I need to try to figure that out. I think you need some sort of stabilization throughout the middle, throughout the length of the table. Hopefully I can make that at least a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see, though. The only thing I thought to try was underneath there's those little spinny leg things that I was talking about like earlier, a few clips ago or whatever, and they're still on there, and it's a carpeted floor, so I'm not sure, like, maybe, if we took those off, like, it would help a little bit. I don't have any idea, but that's where we're at. So, like, the table wobbles, I'm not happy with that. We need to fix that. That aside, though, assuming we can get that kind of taken care of, let's talk about the other issues that we're possibly having, like the placement of these things. I think that the placement over here that I was talking about, the potential placement over there, I think that's totally unnecessary and probably not even the best idea anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm still glad that we moved those legs in a little bit because that probably did help with the wobble even more, I would assume. I would assume if we put the legs in any closer together, it would continue to help with the wobble. Unfortunately, as you can see, like, that's pretty much as far as we could have put them in anyway. We did 4 inches, just to note that, I did 4 inches off of this. So, like, if you look up here, you can't really see, but, like, there's 4 inches from the edge here, and then they're just, spaced evenly across. So it was like 3 inches or something because there's 6 inches left over with the subtraction of the lengths there of the widths of the table and width of the legs. But let's go back to these placements and everything like that. So these microphones, Amanda and I were sitting down. We kind of just did kind of initial test to look at how this was going to go and everything. So like if it's a normal podcast with just 2 people, they're obviously going to sit in these first 2 seats here, the front 2 seats, and that doesn't make any sense. So really, again, we had 3 options. We had place the clamp here, place the clamp to the left of the person here, or place the clamp to the right. This doesn't make any sense now that I realize because the goddamn microphone is in the way of the person anyway, and it's not a good idea. So that is what we're gonna do right here. This is just the best way to do it because actually, again, too, I want to re-mention that, like, I'm not coming up with any of these fucking ideas, okay? Like, I do a lot of research and then I put together the thing. So, like, if you look at, like, a Joe Rogan or any other podcast sort of setup, like, that just makes sense. Like, you don't see it and you don't think about it until you see it and you see other people do it. It just makes sense. Put the microphones away from the camera because that's the whole point of having, like, a lower profile microphone anyway, right? So that'll make a lot of sense there. I'm going to be happy with how that's going to end up. So this is going to be the microphone placement once we, hopefully deal with that table situation. It's going to be like, somebody's sitting here, the microphone is to the right of them. And then somebody sitting back there, the microphone also will be to the right of them. Because the other thing is, like, obviously we're playing off that camera thing, but I thought maybe put one here. Now that doesn't really make any sense either because, like, I didn't want them to, like, bump or anything. So everyone's, if you're on the right side, your microphone will be to the right of you. If you're on the left side, we're going to move this down over to here. And then, the other one will be over here. So that'll be great. That'll work out fine. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Those things have a lot of adjustments. Like I said, that's probably going to be something close to, the way that it'll look as far as the shot, if you will, or not the shot per se, but like the setup of the microphone. So I'll give you a quick idea of kind of what we're looking at here. If I go over here, hello. So, like, we have a mic. Obviously this is reversed, but like something like this. The one thing I want to note here real quick is, like, this is quite high. Like the clamp distance, I mean, I'm happy because it's all, like, solid and everything, but the clamp distance, and you can see the table wobble. See the table wobble? Yeah, not good. I'm going to try to keep it stable just for the shot. But from the distance from, like, the top of the clamp here to the top of this thing is, like, I don't know what that is, but, like, it's, probably at least, like, 4 inches, okay? And so it's, like, it's still quite high. So, like, what I did was I came over here to this pivot point and I tilted it down because I don't want the whole point of the low profile is because I didn't want the arm or the mic to be in the way. So if it's down here, then this is a little better, right? So I can just be like, hey, how you doing? The other thing cool is, like, you can, like, really sit back if you want, or you can come up closer. That's going to be better. I don't know. It's just, this is the way to do this. It's just a lot of, if you're doing it all yourself, it's like a lot of planning and a lot of time and thought and research and everything like that. But I think this is, again, going in the right direction. So we got these. We got the mic placements. We got that kind of all figured out. Obviously, we have the new windscreens on. We're going to have the windscreens on here. So that'll work out nicely. Obviously, still have to hang the lights. But I think the biggest thing right now is me trying to figure out how to stabilize this table. Because that is literally the most annoying part about this. The next thing, though, after I figure all that out, whether I take those feet off or do something else, is the cord issue. So you might be able to see probably in here that obviously the XLR comes out of here. These are pretty sick. I was told that these things pop off pretty easily. I don't think that's really the case. I mean, it might, but there's little metal channels in here, and they kind of, hey, how you doing? There's metal channels right here, and then the cord just, kind of hides in here, right? So it's pretty sick, but the problem is now, or the next thing to solve, right? Because there's a million things to solve here, is how do I manage these cables and not have them running all over the table and all sorts of shit? And I don't think it's gonna be that difficult per se, but it's gonna be just another task. So if we pull back, we take a look. So you're seated here, you have your setup here and everything. It looks really clean, I mean, you can't even really see the wire or anything like that. So it goes under there, and then it comes out like the bottom area. And so I'm thinking, probably bring it down here like this. And the trouble is, I don't know exactly where the zoom is going to be positioned, like the thing that actually goes in here. I'm honest to God might have to get longer ones of these, which I'm not happy about. But let's say that, like, this actually worked and I didn't have to do anything super crazy. Then I could probably bring this just like down across the bottom of the table, just clamp everything up there with some sort of, maybe there's even like something I could get like a hole, like a, I don't know, like some sort of like channel, like cable channel thing up there. And if I set this damn camera down for a second, I can kind of give you a better description of like what's going to happen here. this is just what I'm envisioning, would be, you know, it's attached up at the top of the table. You probably want to have some more slack. So my initial thought is like bring everything out here, and because like most of the time I'll be sitting, you know, probably in the front or whatever. But I don't know exactly because we don't have an engineer, you know, we don't have a producer. It'd be nice to have a podcast producer. If somebody wants to, you know, apply for that, let me know. But I was thinking bring everything to here. That was my initial thought. And the reason was because I don't think you're really going to see that in the shot, or I can make it so you don't really see it, and have just like a very small, like, you know, engineer producer table thing right here, like just like literally talking like a small thing just like this. All it would hold is really, I don't have it right now, but like the zoom that's in that box, like just the little audio interface thing. So if I was sitting on this side, I can't remember what side I sit on, but if I was sitting on this side, I would just, you know, be able to just like press record, and then we would be off to the races. Just because there's nothing else really that, you know, because I'm normally in the things, I don't really act as like the producer. I mean, I act as a producer, but I don't do like any switching or anything like that. I don't know. I got to think about it. Because if we were going to do that, then obviously just cable management, put it there, boom, click it, good to go. I do want it to be simple, quick, and easy and fast and everything like that. So, you know, that would be my number one goal. But yeah, other than that, we are just, it looks fantastic. I mean, even just looking at it from here, I'm very excited about it. And I'm super happy with the way it's going. Action items. Think about all that shit that I just said, you know, right? The whole cable management, everything like that. The other thing is the headphones. They have to go into, you know, right now, currently the Zoom interface thing, so they got to run underneath the table and everything. So I guess maybe like a channel, cable channel type thing for that. I'm going to need to buy 2 more arms if we're serious about that. If we're serious about like using those arms and everything like that, and I really got to stop the table from wobbling. But other than that, I mean, we're just chipping away at it one at a time. We got to get rid of that window, deal with that window thing, and hang the lights. I don't know. There's a list of things, but honestly, we're moving so fast. It's going great. So I don't know. Then start pumping out some content, because that's why we did this, right? So I'm excited though. This is going great. I don't know what else I can really do tonight or today really, because I do have a hockey game or whatever, but I also like am kind of out of materials because I've built everything that I've bought. So I don't know. We'll see. If I do something, I will let you know.